before I show you the next document, which is probably the most important one that I've got, or certainly one of them that relates to the World Trade Center, I thought I'd show you this article that came on yesterday. I thought it was today, but it was yesterday. Someone kindly told me about this article. This is absolutely huge, because this article, when you read it, this is only a screenshot from it. I suggest you look at it online, okay? They're now trying to suggest that Companies House registration system has been completely compromised by a hacker, and that even documents have been managed to put onto the register. This is false, okay? And the document I'm going to show you will show why this is false information. I don't think they realise what they're doing. They're just digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole over this. The only way out of this is the truth, because as hard as it will be to deal with it, the people can work up from the truth. They have a foundation to build from. All the time there's deceit, lies, corruption. They're just going to make this world a much worse place to be in. Okay, the only way out of this is the truth. We have to have that. So now let's look at that article when you get a chance, please, and have a read of it. It's really important. But let me show you the document. Okay, so this is the document, and everything within this document relates to the World Trade Center. Okay, all research in relation to the World Trade Center. Very importantly, like I said on the other video, is that the screenshots taken from the Companies House register and from the incorporation documents are extremely important evidence. The rest of this document is what I've typed in there. I do suggest you corroborate and verify what I've shown within the screenshots, and you can do that on the link that I've put within this document. You can also contact me, and my contact details are on the description for this video on YouTube. And there's also a way you can contact me within this document. And if you contact me, I will get round at some point to sending you the actual evidential documents that I'm showing you. There's quite a few people have already asked for them, and I will get them out to you as best as I can. So you can pause your way through this, because it's going to take a long time. It's going to be several videos, this, because it's 400 pages. So you can just pause this and read this at your leisure. So I'm not going to read all of this. A lot of this is the same information that was on the other documents. Okay, so if you've seen my Bournemouth, Christchurch and Poole document, you would have seen pretty much all of this information, but this might be the first time you're seeing a video, and this summarises how serious this matter is, which is the falsification, the forgery of the Companies House registration system, and the use of forged bank documents produced by the banks being allowed to happen by government organisations, and then money going into offshore accounts. There's irrefutable evidence in relation to the falsification of the Companies House registration system. That is fraud. Here's the link. I do suggest you verify and corroborate the information I'm showing you. On that red link there, you can type that in and search for any company that I'm showing you on this document. And there at the bottom you can see how you can contact me on TikTok. But as I said, sorry about the noise in the background. But I've said also you can, my email address that I've set up is also on the description of the video. So what I've done, same as the last video, sorry no, this video is slightly different actually, this document, I've actually put the summary on an index before the information comes. You just need to refer back and forward to the pages, look back and forward, and you can see descriptions, and that will help guide you through the document if you need to. But I will talk through it as briefly as I can now, but I do suggest you go back over and look at them in more detail, and if necessary look at them closely when I send them to you. Okay, so first of all I'm just showing you examples of the forged bank documents that I've acquired. This is one here. You see it's a Lloyd's Bank document on the top right there, the logo. Don't know how clear you can see this, but it's clear when you look at it within the document. You've got dates in the amount columns, amounts in date columns. There's misalignment. It should not be like that if that's an authentic bank document. The bank have not confirmed they're authentic, and in fact they refused to respond to me after I pointed out all of the discrepancies, being a former police officer. Now this was further document they sent after I queried it. They tried covering their backs and sending this more professional looking document. Unfortunately, again, you can tell it's forged. Okay, there's part of the border, you can't see very well on this at the moment, but there's part of the border is missing here. That wouldn't happen for starters with a genuine authentic bank document where there's figures and tables in a table, and that's because it's the bank's software that produces them. And this is an email produced by Dorset Police, and being a former police officer, I can tell that this is a deliberate immunity being given. This was sent by Dorset Police, and I've got another one almost identical. And this is allowing a loophole and immunity for banks to produce these forged bank documents and be used in circulation by companies. And that's a crime under the 2006 Fraud Act. It can't do that, and the police are refusing to get evidential statements. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause this for a minute. Okay, what I've done, I've skipped forward to this part of the document. When you get the document, if you request it from me, you'll see there's a lot more information beforehand. And with that, I was trying to show how quick the links are from my company, Export Manor Freehold Limited, to the World Trade Centre. But I've skipped forward because I think it's important I get this out before anything happens to me. So I'm not going to read all of this, okay, but please do pause it or go slow motion and read all of this, and this will explain the information, what is coming up. And then you'll see the research and the documents in relation to it. Okay, so have a read. So hopefully I did that slowly enough for you. Ooh. Okay, hopefully I did that slowly enough for you. I'll just go back just so you can pause it on each section if you want. And with this document, the page numbers referenced at the side there, you just need then to look at the page numbers which are written at the bottom right of each page. But let's get into this research and evidence. So this is research in relation to a Daily Echo article, and this is a gentleman I used to work for called Neil Munro. He was an inspector, lovely guy actually, I didn't know him particularly well, but he died in 2008, quite untimely death. He was quite young, and it was put down to that he'd appeared to have thrown himself off of a yacht in Poole Harbour. Okay, so that's, again, you can pause this, look at it in slow motion. I do suggest you do your own research on this. Remember, the Daily Echo is linked to the News Quest, which links through to the fraudulent system. Okay, and they have refused to get back to me at all. Now, you'll see here on the left-hand side, this is incredibly important. So before he died, Neil Munro had a conversation with a neighbour, okay, to which they mentioned the death of Manchester Chief Constable Michael Todd. Okay, so this is what was heard at the inquest. So he'd also, leading up to his death, he'd gone to the cinema to see 2 movies. But this is incredibly important. So he went and had a conversation with a neighbour about Michael Todd, and we'll come to that in a minute. Moving on, you can see there were 3 police officers that had died within a very short space of time. You can see that on the article there. Okay. As you can read through this, this just tells you about the other officers that died. Michael Todd is mentioned. We'll come to Michael Todd in a minute. Okay, nobody saw Neil Munro fall off of the boat or jump off, and he was found near sandbanks, near which I think is the 4th most expensive place to live in the world. Now let's look at Michael Todd. Again, all of this is described in detail if you want to go back to the description. You see here, he was a Manchester Chief Constable for Manchester area. Okay, he was also part of the Association of Chief Police Officers. Okay, now in 2002 he was selected as the Chief Constable of Greater Manchester. 9/11, as you know, the World Trade Center attack was in 2001. First thing, right hand side there, you can see that he was involved, okay, in investigating on behalf of the Association of Chief Police Officers the extraordinary rendition flights conducted by the CIA and transport of detainees. That's absolutely essential information. This all becomes relevant in a minute. Okay, so remember, 2002 he became part of the Association of Chief Police Officers. That is linked to the fraudulent system. Okay, you've got the former Met Chief Constable Lord Condon is linked from that company to BAE Systems, which is a fraudulently linked defence contractor company, one of the largest, in fact the largest contractor for the country. It was also linked through to Group 4 Security that is linked through to the fraud, and you can see that. Search it yourself, G4S Limited, or you can look on the my Theresa May document that's going to be, it's already been put out briefly, but I'm hopefully going to get it out properly. Now this is still looking at Michael Todd. Okay, and this explains what extraordinary rendition is, and it relates to the war on terror. Okay, so Michael Todd was involved in reviewing methods of extraction by the CIA, and you can read this, slow it down and read it, and I've pause it, and also in relation to MI5 and MI6. Okay, so he was involved in reviewing that. He's linked to the fraudulent system. Okay, I won't read all of this, I'll just let you through it, and this tells you about the extraction techniques used, and they were used in the, I believe, the Iraqi war and Afghanistan by the CIA. Okay, this is just talking about that again. Now, Michael Todd was found in very unusual circumstances on the side of Mount Snowdon. Apparently he died, according to the report, from weather exposure, but this is crucial. Here on the left you can see Max Clifford, okay, the publicist, who we've already mentioned in the other video. Max Clifford is linked all the way through this, okay, all the way through this fraud, linked to MPs, linked to defence companies, media companies, you name it, linked to the Assistant Chief Association of Chief Police Officers that we've just talked about. He received a phone call. Someone phoned him a week ago, and they had a Liverpool or Manchester accent. All they said was that they had a story about a top copper, and that it was a big scandal, and that they wanted to get a lot of money. I didn't hear from them again, and there was probably no connection at all with this. Now, Max Clifford is involved. We have to now consider that either Neil Monroe made that call, or someone else that knew about the fraud made that call, because this happened just before, not long before Neil Monroe died, and just after Michael Todd had died. Okay, but they obviously didn't realise that Max Clifford was involved in this, and Max Clifford is heavily involved in this fraudulent system. Okay, now we're going to move on to, and again, look at the explanation before. This is the former Chief Constable for Dorset Police, Martin Baker. Now, when he resigned, you can see on the right there, he quit, or resigned, and he went and worked for the Police Crime and Commissioner's Office. They are linked to this fraudulent system, okay? But importantly, we have links to defence contractors for the country, one of which is Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin appears to link through from another defence company linked to somebody called Martin Baker, or Baker Armaments. We'll have a look at it now. I can't remember exactly, but you'll see the links when you look at this document. Now, he was the Chief Constable at the time of Neil Monroe dying. Okay, I'm not saying any of these individuals are involved in fraud. Okay, certainly these companies that I've mentioned are linked through to the fraudulent system. That's without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, you can see it within the documents. So have a read of this. You can see Martin Baker was linked to the Safewise company, along with Connor Burns, who is the local Dorset Member of Parliament. Connor Burns is not responding to any contact from me at all, despite me having overwhelming evidence. I've tried doing this all the right way. I've gone through all of the legal routes in terms of all of the organisations that should be looking into this and dealing with it. They're now all ignoring me, including Connor Burns, even though Connor Burns has been to the House of Parliament to discuss initiative property management. Okay, you'll see that from one of the videos. I think it was in the last one, actually. You'll see, it might even be this one, that he went to Houses of Parliament mentioning the management company linked to this fraud heavily, but trying to limit the size of it down to that one management company, and he's not responding to me, even though of all of this evidence. He is part of this company, Safewise, and of course this company links to the fraudulent system. Watch my Connor Burns video and you will see that. Also, you've got the either former or current head of Dorset, Wiltshire and Fire and Rescue Service linked to there. This is relevant because the Dorset, Wiltshire and Fire and Rescue Service are allowing my building to be negligent in their fire safety, okay? Now I know this because I arranged, they didn't have the fire safety certificate, so fire risk assessment done for that building for 3.5 years, from 2017 when you had the Glenfell Tower fire until I moved back into the building and realised it hadn't been done. I arranged by a formally accredited fire risk assessor to assess the building, and they confirmed there were issues with the fire doors leading into the flats. There's lots of correspondence I've got with Dorset Wiltshire Fire and Rescue, and it's still not been resolved, and they're allowing that building to still be resided in by tenants, putting them at risk. There is no way that the surrounds of the fire doors are 30-minute fire compliant, which is what they have to be by law. You can tell that because they're little thin hatches at the bottom, and they are not refusing to respond. So that's why I've mentioned that. Now we'll move on to the special advisor for the last few prime ministers. Now, very little was known about this person until recently. Okay, and Nadine Dorries, I've just shown a screenshot of a video she did. Look up Nadine Dorries on Douglas Smith and you'll see it. This man has a very shady past, let's say, at the very least, and he has been guiding and advising most of the prime ministers. Certainly the information says since 2017, and he's involved in the dark arts, okay, whatever that means. Read into that what you will. He's also connected through this system of fraud very quickly to my management company, and management companies appears to be connected through an associated company that appears to be linked to. Okay, very quickly links through to management companies surrounding my building. And remember, I've obtained forged bank documents from the management companies surrounding my building. Okay, I refused to file our accounts with them because they were so clearly forged. They removed me as a director and filed them anyway. Okay, and they brought in Deborah Fleming and a former director who had resigned when I wanted to view the bank accounts. He resigned, okay, when I wanted to view those bank accounts. Our management company resigned, 2 other directors then resigned, and I was then removed by the rest of the shareholders when I refused to file these forged bank documents because I realised we'd be committing a crime. Anyway, special advisor, read this, take your time. He's been according to this article, these articles, he was arrested, but also importantly, he was involved in fever sex parties. Now, this man appears to be guiding or advising Rishi Sunak at the moment and the last few prime ministers. Now, I didn't write these articles, I'm only going by these articles. Okay, please feel free to read this, look through it. So, very controversial past, making it appears the decisions for the prime ministers has no official capacity within Parliament, and we'll look at in a minute other information in relation to him. But again, you can pause this, have a little look at it. Apparently he's got a temper. Okay, so now I'm researching fever sex parties, okay, and it links through to this company here. Okay, so this is now these are now official Companies House documents and registers. They're just screenshot and put into this document for you to see. So it's not misinformation. You can go and look at this, and I suggest you do on the link that I showed you earlier. Go and research and corroborate all of this information yourself. Now, I've had to redact some of the documents so that it isn't removed, and straight away you can see a link, I'll remind myself on this, to York Place Company Services. Now, that company is linked through to the system of fraud. You'll see in other documents. So straight away we've got a link through to the fraud. There's also 2 records within this company, clearly the same person, you can see here, and yet we've got 2 separate records, one with 1 company linked to it, the other one with 4 companies linked to it. That should not happen. It's clearly the same person, it's the same middle name, within the same company. That should be under 1 record, but yet Companies House have duplicated records. Okay, so you can see this isn't a hacking by anyone else, and all of this document will show that this is Companies House involved in this fraud under the governance of the government themselves. So when you look into 1 record for Susan Saville, interesting name. Okay, you will see this company. They were incorporated in 2001 in February, and this is very likely relevant to the World Trade Center disaster. Oh, it could be. We'll come on to it later, but Silverstein, okay, I can't remember his first name, you'll see it in the document, bought the World Trade Center in July 2001. He was the only ever purchaser of the lease and change of management for that building in 31 years, and he bought it in July, and as you know, it collapsed under a supposed attack by terrorists, supposedly, in September. Okay, we've now got these companies, and you'll see they're all started up very close to the acquisition of that leasehold by Silverstein. But we'll come to that more later. So here you can see straight away we've got it. This company is linked through to this Temples Professional Services Limited. Okay, this is the incorporation document now for the company we were looking at. Go and look at this yourself, check it out. You can see it links to City Road. That is an address that you'll see from my documents features all the way through the fraud. You can see on the same document, this is just another page from it, it links to Temples Limited, City Road. This company links to Max Clifford and through to Jeffrey Epstein very, very quickly. So you can see we've got quite, and this is just showing you the previous research. This is a document that's been retained. You can see that Max Clifford, previous research, document has been saved. Temples Limited is that company. So now looking at Temples nominees, and you can see the address, 9 Wimpole Street. That becomes very relevant, okay, because it links through, Wimpole Street links through to Jeffrey Epstein and Max Clifford's company, associated companies. Remember, there's over 5 million companies, guys. The chance of this coming into this and overlapping so quickly is impossible unless there's something in it. Remember, we've got forged bank documents that I've shown you. That's just 2 examples. There's a lot more. Again, you can see this company now that we're looking at. So this is showing their previous companies' names. They changed their name in June 2000. Okay, and then not again until 2004. Okay, and I think it was still an active company when I did this. Oh no, sorry, it dissolved in 2010. Okay. I've just realised that actually. Oh yeah, so dissolved in 2010, okay. So it didn't change its name again from 2004 until 2010, but we've got all these other changes. And you can see it changed its name in June 2000, 1 month before the World Trade Center disaster. Okay, and then it changed its, so it changed its name in 1998, you can see here. Then in 2000, 1 month before Silverstein bought that, got the lease for that building. I'm just giving you the facts here. I'm not, and we'll come to Silverstein later. Again, you can see this document now for this company. Look at the name, Sunderman Sakani. Look at all my videos, and you'll see this name features right throughout. So this links now through to Jeffrey Epstein, Max Clifford, the Health Service. The same name, the same companies, same addresses, overlapping within a very short space of time, and you'll see examples of this in a minute. So remember, this is research coming, looking at the from information from the special advisor for the last few prime ministers. Now, Sunderman Sakani has not been registered. That's why I've highlighted him again. He's not been registered for that company, and yet he's been named as a director or secretary. He has to be registered as on the registration system for Companies House. They haven't done it. They're trying to say this is fraud by somebody else. This is fraud. It cannot be. This is fraud by Companies House, everybody. They're going to be trying to say that they were hacked. They were hacked, but you'll see from all of this, they were not hacked. They might have been hacked, but certainly this is Companies House that's involved in this. So now we're just on research. Again, take your time, read this. Okay, and this will explain what's coming up in more detail on the following few pages. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to do, there's going to be quite a few videos I'm going to have to do in relation to this document. So I'll stop at about half an hour, we'll do 30 minutes at a time. So now we're looking at research in relation to Douglas Smith. This certainly appears to be the same person. You can see from the image it looks like it's him. Now, do your own research. If you've got, this is from LinkedIn, have a look at it. But this shows that he was involved in high-profile security for oil companies and COVID vaccine sites and airports. Okay, certainly from the oil companies and gas companies and the airports, it was in relation to the Middle East. Okay, so he's got a military background, but he was involved in security of oil fields, airports, and for big companies, and also COVID sites as well. If you look at this carefully, you'll see that it mentions COVID sites. Okay, he's also important to mention that he's Scottish. Okay, and there's a relevance to that. Neil Monroe, I forgot to mention he was Scottish. Now Neil Monroe, there's a gentleman called Graham Monroe who was involved in JP Morgan. He was recently been employed as in one of the top positions for the SWIFT international transaction system. Okay, the bank transaction system used for most banks. It could be that Neil Monroe was related to Graham Monroe, who is at JP Morgan. You'll see later is heavily linked to this fraud, and it could be that is the connection as well through his connection to Graham Monroe. It needs to be considered. So we've got Neil Monroe Scottish, we've got this gentleman Scottish. Now this, I think, is going to be the same Douglas Smith, but the date of birth is very slightly different. So the research suggests he was born in, it's here somewhere, I think it's up here, 1962. Oh, there we go, on the right there, 1962. But we have somebody called the same name, Douglas Smith, but with 1961, same month, I believe, or very close to it. Now this company links to, this person links to Sabre Safety Holdings. Okay, so let's look through this company. Here's the registration documents for that company, Sabre. Okay, so we've got Sabre Safety Holdings, and the address is very important. Okay, this address here, you need to remember this, because this address links through to management companies and a company with a very similar with Sabre in it, through to management companies surrounding my management company very quickly. Oh, and you can see that this company is linked through to a Scottish company, okay, called Oswald's, that links through to Jordan's of Scotland, Jordan Scotland Limited. They are linked through to fraudulently incorporated companies. Okay, so where the incorporation document does not match the company's house registration. So now we're looking at another company that links through to Douglas Smith, and it's SSL Realizations. And you can see they're linked to KPMG. KPMG, look at my other deep documents. They link heavily in relation to this fraud and seem to link through to Interpath and Prime Ministers, and again, falsification of the company's register and very serious fraud. I'm going to say it is fraud. There's no disputing it. You have documents attached to the register. The register has been altered along with all of this information. It is overwhelming, irrefutable evidence of fraud. And here we go. You can see this company was incorporated in 2001 in June, 1 month before Silverstein purchased the World Trade Center. You can see it changed its name a few times since. So around there you can see, look how quickly. So it was called Sabre Safety Limited. Changed its name from June till August. It was named that, and then changed its name in 2001. And then you can see it changed in August to this name, and then changed in 2017. No other changes. No other changes of name. Very significant, okay? Read into that what you will. You can see it just shows the incorporation document for that company. Okay, so look at this yourself. You'll see this is all corroborated. Okay, so I've just had to redact some bits. Okay, and he came on in December 2001. Douglas James Smith became a director for this company 2 months after the World Trade Center. So it started when did we say it started? in June 2001. He became a director in 2000 in December. Linked to this company, we've got 2 records for Jennifer Cameron. It's clearly the same person, but we've got 2 records created. They're going to say, well, it's because a middle name was there. You can see it's the same person. I don't even work for Companies House and it's the same person. It's within the same company. Should be under 1 record. Here we go, you've got links there. Now this links through, actually we'll stop the video here, we'll come back to it in a minute. So that's page 191 because we've skipped forward, so we'll stop there and do another video. I don't want you to fall asleep. So check out video number 2, please.